chemistry class. Now we will talk about the state changes, like changing. We previously talked about states of matter, and now we will talk about how they change their states. Let's begin. There are several reactions. First of them is melting. Let's start with melting. Melting is when the solid changes into the liquid. When particles closely packed to each other start to pull apart them, this process requires heat energy, which transforms into kinetic energy, and allowing the particles to move. When they were solid, they were not enough energy to move, and as they gain kinetic energy, they start to move, and they do not only vibrate but they move, so they change their position, and that's why they become a liquid. Melting occurs only at the specific temperature known as melting point. For example, for water, melting point is 0 degrees. And next one is the boiling. Boiling is when the liquid changes into a gas. Particles that were moving and sliding around each other start to move in all different random directions, and this process also requires heat. This process also requires heat energy, which causes bubbles of gas to form below the surface of the liquid, allowing the liquid particles to escape from the surface within a liquid. Boiling occurs at the specific temperature called boiling point. For water, this measure is 100 degrees Celsius. And now let's move on to the third one, the freezing. Freezing is when the liquid changes into the solid. We can say that it's the opposite of melting. Melting was from solid to liquid, but freezing is from liquid to solid. And this is the exactly reverse of melting, and occurs at exactly the same temperature as melting. For this reason, melting point and the freezing point of pure substances are exactly the same. As I mentioned before, for water, these two values are equal to 0 degrees Celsius. And freezing requires significant decrease in temperature, while the two previous ones required heat energy. This requires decrease in energy or loss in energy. The next one is evaporation. Evaporation occurs when liquid changes into the gas, and occurs over a range of temperatures. Evaporation occurs below boiling point. Evaporation occurs only at the surface of the liquids, where high energy particles can escape from the liquid's surface at low temperature, below boiling point of the liquid. We mentioned before that it occurs over a range of temperatures. Range should be the highest point is below boiling point, and the lowest point is a little higher than melting point, because evaporation only occurs within the liquid and below boiling point. There are several factors that affect evaporation. One of them is the surface area. Second is the energy. If we have larger surface area, warmer the liquid, the more quickly a liquid can evaporate. If we have larger surface area, more particles can escape at the same time, and if we have warmer liquid, this means that we have more energy, so more particles can evaporate. And there is we came to the condensation. Condensation occurs when the gas changes into the liquid on cooling, and it takes place over a range of temperatures. And when a gas is cooled, its particles lose energy, as in freezing, and then they bump into each other and they lack energy to bounce away again. What does this mean? We know that gas particles move quickly, and there are some collisions which causes pressure, and as they lose energy, they start to move slowly, and at some point they will bounce once and will not bounce again. Instead of bouncing, they group together to form a liquid. They pack closer together, but they still have energy to move around, so they will become a liquid. And the last one is sublimation. Sublimation occurs when the solid changes directly into gas. This only happens to a few solids, such as iodine or carbon dioxide. The reverse reaction also happens, and it's called desublimation or deposition. Here is image to visualize how it goes on. As we increase energy, melting and evaporation takes place, and sublimation. As we decrease energy, desublimation, condensation, and freezing. In melting, our substance is becoming liquid from solid. In evaporation, our liquid becoming gas. And condensation, the reversing of evaporation, and in freezing, the reversing of melting. And they should, and if we can write boiling to next to evaporation, because they are the same thing, almost the same.